Okay, so coming back um, to begin this here recording again, and I was saying that Aquarians are, a sign that needs to be free. So when we look at them, and even with that energy in our chart, what we find is a lot of people struggling with freedom because they don't really look at how the masses are controlled through the social programming, the system, the government, and to introduce the fact of acceptance to people, judgment and non-judgment, because everybody in this world has said that they are non-conformists, but they're lying. The fact of the matter that we meet with people and we judge them because we look at them and see something that we don't like is conforming. It's conforming because we want people to be like us. And if they're not, it's something wrong with them. That means that if they don't laugh and talk like us, it's conforming. And all of this here energy that I'm explaining has to do with Uranus. Because Uranus, at the end of the day, does not care what you say. It's going to do what it want to do. And the Aquarian is in that space. So wherever you have Aquarius in your chart, then you can look at it and begin to define why you have conformed, and you know that you don't feel right about it. Why have you given your power away? You didn't know that, but you do when you allow people to influence you other than how you feel. I believe, as I said to these people, that if you are on drugs, it's a time and a space for that. But it is against the will of God for us to obstruct that will in others, which means that we accept them as they are while they're in our space. If we work with them on a behavioral level, then we're able to guide them, but we cannot make them be or do anything. The energy of social constructs tells us that if they do drugs, we can put them in jail. Well, the Aquarius or the Uranian energy is going to look for ways to get freedom for people. You're going to feel that way. Some people don't want to be a part of that liberating factor, but then I ask myself, what is the Christian faith and the Spirit of Christ if you're not liberated and if you're not becoming a part of liberation? Because that's what salvation is freedom. And you are going to want to show people what freedom is if you have that energy working with you. So it's a change that's going on that's causing people to think differently. And I would encourage them to not dismiss thoughts of freedom, thoughts of change, thoughts of liberation, which says that I allow people to be who they are and I be who I am. It's too much energy to try to control people and tell them how they should be. The only thing that we can do is support them, pull away from them, or teach them. And that teaching would be in the energy freedom. It is not a push. It is not a struggle to teach somebody because you simply give information. Information is informed, so it comes from within. Now, the other thing is with this, Uranian energy, is that it is non-tolerant. It will make things happen that it wants to make happen, and that's not the people. But if you are repressing feelings, that's where the volatile conversations or emotions come up, because it's going to make you bring it up. Now, that's just Uranus. The other thing is that that energy is non-sympathetic. It has empathy, but it is not moved by anxiety, the winds of change. It will assess what's going on around it. That energy in a human being, that's how it affects you. You're looking for ways to free people. Now, Pluto is playing a part in this, because the transformation for us to accept Uranian energy, especially those that have it in the chart, and I have it in my 7th house, Pluto and Uranus. All of it is transformation and transcending energy. And it is truth energy. Uranus is calling for people to be authentic. That's a word that I've used for a long time. Where there has been conformity in the world, many people have been a part of spiritual foundations, even Christianity, and they said that they had not conformed to the world, but they have. They've conformed. When you go into the churches, they've conformed to the world, because people are still concerned with how they're viewed and how they see each other. They can't even get along in that place, and that's where God's house is. So the freedom that Christ actually came and brought is so different from the platforms that we trusted. Now, I'm not saying that there's no churches that are giving freedom, but I'm saying that there's a lot of people that's in bondage. And this energy is coming, but it's going to have to be accepted. Some of the things that you thought were wrong, people taught you was wrong about life, and any of the ologies, theology, psychology, astrology, cosmology, biology, sociology, all of these here come together, and they make a unit for us to be people that can live in unity. So there's been discrimination against teachings and studies that need to be abolished in order for people to actually be able to resolve issues in their life, such as if you are, a person with Uranian energy, your thoughts are going to be different. They definitely are not going to be of this world, because that is a planet that is ruled in the cosmos almost like by the Godhead. And Mercury is a personal planet that is very close to it. They operate out of each other, but Uranus is like the Godhead. It's getting cosmo energy, and it's bringing in change. It brings in change of innovation, technology. The internet is a part of it. And these are things that people did not want to accept when they were coming. Computers. Every year we got new iPhones. All of this is because of the basis of Uranus, and that's social media, all of that, because all of this is innovative. So when you look at your Uranus energy, you're looking at people that have pretty much been silenced because they were different. And I'm saying it's time that they are able to open their mouths. So what am I telling people? It's okay to be different. Don't let the masses rule you and dumb you down anymore. Why? Because the energy that you receive, the planet you were born under, needs you to work and be activated in this world at this time. And if you can understand the energy and you move with the feeling, you won't be angry and frustrated anymore, because it's a conduit that's telling you how to move through life, how to do what you're supposed to do with that energy. if you obstruct a person that is moving in a unique characteristic, they're different than you, then you could be coming against what the universe is trying to get through here, because there's changes that need to be made. The changes cannot be made by us living and thinking traditionally. Even even the Bible tells you that Jesus did not live a traditional lifestyle. And he didn't, because he didn't even have a place to live. He lived like a homeless person, according to the way that the Bible is saying. Now, what a lot of people will look at is John the Baptist and the way that our spirituality or foundations are created. But they don't look at the fact that when Jesus came, things changed. Because he wasn't talking about material stuff. Although they had money that they made, he was trying to bring a social change. Elijah the prophet was bringing a social change. And all of that they were doing is what we're looking at right now. People that are afraid to speak up concerning this type of issue, and then what's going on in the world, you feel like you want to change. Your frustration is in you not speaking out because you don't want other people not to accept what you're saying. Well, I don't care. I don't care, because I have been in ministries and I can tell you the Bible inside out. I'm not going to leave that alone. I'm going to teach it the way that the universe is prompting me, because I do not understand people in bondage and they go to hear a minister that's anointed every Sunday. They're still not free. Now, I'm not saying that they're not anointed, but I'm saying that our churches need to change some things. They need to go with the energy and the flow of God, truly. And they need to know what's going on. Some of them are not tapping into the energy. They don't understand it. We have the Holy Spirit speaking in tongues, and ain't nobody profiting from it. All of these here things is something to look at. So in your experience in life, you go on and you go further and you look at yourself and you say, what am I really doing? And the awakening is tapping at your door, because there was a time when you were silenced. But this is not the time. There's a great outpour that's coming. With the freedom energy these planets are giving, there's a lot of changes that's going to be made. We watch and pray. That is what we need to do, because revolutionary changes are upon us. I can tell you from the way that this energy has hit me, it was things that I've known for a long time, but I did not feel compelled. I'm compelled. I'm compelled to provoke people, because you're in bondage when you have mental illness. But you have not went as far as you can to understand yourself. To understand yourself means there's some self-knowledge that you need to take on. Self-knowledge means that you take less information from people. Because if you look back and the information from the people that you've been served under, and that's what time and season. I'm not saying that they were totally wrong, but when universe is changing, consciousness is changing for us because we're growing and developing, then that means that it's time for you to take responsibility for your life and find out what your mind, your body, and soul is really saying to you. And at this time, there's a lot of people that's been oppressed. And in between Uranus and Pluto, they're bringing transformation and revolutionary change. We ain't got to talk about Saturn. Jupiter is expanding that look at the energy. Some of these are still retrograde, and we have Uranus that went retrograde. And because Uranus went retrograde, I began to identify with the pull to go within, because that's what Uranus does. The moon is coming up for Uranus, and that's in Aquarius on the 15th. And so what is it saying? It's going to identify dark habits, and it's going to identify light habits within the Aquarian. And a lot of the information that I gave is already there, because the Aquarius is going to be frustrated if they cannot get free. So that's going to be a dark attribute with the moon coming up. If you don't know that your energy is provoking you to get free of something, then this is where the volatile strikes come from with Uranus energy. But if you can understand that you cannot and you will not be allowed to conform, you won't be, because of the energy that you're born with. You're going to let yourself be who you are, and you're not going to allow yourself to be influenced by other people. I have a son that is Aquarian. And I always tell people that he's always been the kind of child that I couldn't really, you can't rule them, because if you do, you're going to have a fight. My grandson is probably 10 years old. I keep telling my son them, you can guide him, but you cannot make him, because they are ruled by an energy that is not negative, but it makes them their own independent person. The dark side of it is when you try to make them do stuff. When you don't find the way to communicate with them that is helpful with them, then you're going to have problems, because they're liberated souls. They're free. All right. So anything else, you guys can email me, or, we go from there. But that's, a caption on Uranus energy. And I might come back and talk about the Pluto energy, because a lot of people over the last 20 years have been dealing with Pluto, and they kind of give up, and they shouldn't, because Pluto is the transformation. It's death, things that are not conducive to your life anymore, and life. So it's going to kill things. It's going to help you to kill things so that the new can grow. And that's the new part of your life. And then, again, people want to live traditionally, but we weren't created to be traditional, nor were we created to be attached. It's very important. Acceptance, yes. No attachments. What that means is every day is a new day. So if I cling on to what I had yesterday or 5 years ago, I won't get the transformation the way that is coming to me if I have Pluto in any part of my wheel, which is always going to be the case. Wherever it is, you have to look at that, but also the Uranian energy where it is in your chart. But the fact of the matter that it's there means that it's trying to connect you to liberate people in areas of that piece of if it's in your second house, or if it's in your 11th house. 11 is for the groups, and you come together with networking, but you're going to feel this energy of networking because and innovation, because it's part of the energy that we're dealing with for the change, and it's in retrograde, so it's going to take you inside, and that's Uranus. So Pluto is going to take you into the depths of what seems to be hell, because it's got to kill stuff, which means that people ain't going to submit, and so they got to die to self, which is biblical. And then it's going to help you to ascend afterwards so that the new life can come. And so you can add a whole lot of understanding when it comes to, I feel like, scripture. And I do, because I can see the astrological aspects in the Bible. But the energy of Uranus being that, like Jesus, he was a way maker, trailblazer, cutting the way that others didn't take. Then he was also someone that didn't conform. That energy is not going to conform, Uranus. So when you feel like you're rebelling against something, or people have told you you're wrong because you won't do things their way, is possibly you got Uranus in your chart, because we don't want to just be rebellious. We want to know that that energy is working with us, and it's working because it's bringing something different. Whatever you are supposed to be a part of and create, even if it's in your family, is going to be a uniqueness, and that's what Uranus brings. Okay? Bye-bye.